So in today's video, I will be talking about the best races to choose if you want to play as a vampire in Skyrim. Well, obviously, being a vampire in Skyrim has its own advantages and disadvantages. But I still think that there are certain races that will give you an edge in Skyrim by being a vampire. But I think that races won't matter much in the late game because you already will be so powerful with enchantments and smithing that you can literally destroy any enemy on sight. So without a further ado, let's begin the video. So the first race I'm going to talk about is High Elf. The first and most obvious reason why High Elves make excellent vampires is their racial magicka bonus. From the moment you create your character, the Altmers start with an extra 50 points of magicka. This allows you to cast more powerful spells right from the get-go. For vampires, this becomes even more important. As you know, vampires suffer a penalty to health, stamina, and magicka regeneration during the day. But with Highborn, you can counteract that weakness at critical moments, giving you a much-needed boost in tough fights. While High Elves have a lot going for them as vampires, it's important to address their biggest weakness: fire vulnerability. As a vampire, you'll already be more susceptible to fire attacks, and the High Elf offers no innate fire resistance. To counter this, you'll want to focus on acquiring fire-resistant gear, potions, or enchanting your armor to help offset this vulnerability. So the next race I'm going to talk about is the Orc. I know many of you might be thinking, why an Orc? So hear me out. When you think of vampires, the Orc race probably doesn't come to mind first. But if you're looking to break the mold and play a vampire who can dominate in close combat while still being deadly in stealth, then the Orc is the perfect choice. Now let's talk about the secret ingredient that takes this build to the next level: the Necromage perk. As a vampire, once you unlock Necromage in the Restoration skill tree, it boosts all your abilities, enchantments, and spells by 25%. But here's the kicker. This perk also amplifies your racial abilities, including Berserker Rage, making your Orc vampire even more unstoppable. This is especially useful for those tough boss battles or large groups of enemies. So, the next race I'm going to talk about is the Dark Elf, or Dunmer. As you know, vampires are vulnerable to fire, which can be a huge problem when facing dragons, mages, and dragon priests, who shoots those devastating fireballs, which are a nightmare for a vampire. So choosing a Dark Elf gives you a natural 50% resistance to fire, which cancels out the 50% weakness to fire you get as a vampire. So altogether, you will be taking normal fire damage. Not only do they have fire resistance, but their starting stats are also well suited for a vampire build. With bonuses to Destruction, Illusion, and Sneak, the Dark Elf is perfect for players looking to combine magic and stealth in their vampire gameplay. And don't forget the Necromage perk, as it is a key to all the vampire builds. So the next race I'm going to talk about that you can choose in your next vampire playthrough is the Breton. First off, let's talk about why the Breton is such a good choice for a vampire build. Bretons are naturally attuned to magic. They start with 25% resistance to all magic. And they also have the Dragon Skin ability, which lets them absorb 50% of the magicka from incoming spells once a day. This makes them absolute tanks when it comes to handling enemy mages, dragon breath, and any spellcaster you encounter. But wait, there's more. Once you become a vampire and pick up the Necromage perk from the Restoration skill tree, your magic resistance will jump to 37.5%. And remember, that's before gear and enchantments. You can easily cap out at 85% magic resistance, making your Breton vampire practically immune to all forms of magical damage. So that's it for all the races I think will be good for a vampire build. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more builds, and let me know in the comments what video you want me to cover next.